So, we're here to talk a little bit today about how mindfulness helps support workplace environments, namely dealing with the amount of work that we have on, but also dealing with interpersonal relationships, which for many of us are a really important type of work and I think, or part of our work. And I think what's really helpful is to first understand a simple, practical application of what mindfulness is. And when I say application, I mean a tangible understanding of what this word means and how we can identify it. So, when it comes to mindfulness in its simplest, most tangible, actionable form, mindfulness is awareness on purpose without judgment. Now, of course, we are judgmental beings by nature. We need good judgment in work. If we exercise good judgment, we have healthy relationships and we climb in our career of where we want to go. So, judgment is really essential in life. Good judgment is really helpful in the working environment. But when it comes to practicing mindfulness, what we want to do is when we catch ourselves judging consistently without pause, we notice it so that we can create a pause in that ever rational, ever judging thinking brain so that there's room for that gentle, non judgmental awareness. So it gives us space. So mindfulness is awareness on purpose without judgment. And when we inevitably catch ourselves judging, we don't judge that. And why this is really helpful is human beings are meaning making machines. We kind of go to judgment. And when we don't understand something, it's very easy for us to judge us. It's very judge the situation, ourselves or others. It's very easy to go, well, I don't understand this, so I'm going to put it in that box. And that can set us up for a lot of misinformation. It can set us up for a lot of conflict. And as we start to practice mindfulness, we replace judgment with curiosity. And what's really fascinating about curiosity is it actually activates a different part in our brain to defensiveness. So when we're feeling defensive and triggered and maybe judging someone's behavior or assuming how they're behaving means something, wrapping meaning around it, that part in our brain that is open to curiosity essentially shuts down. But the reverse is true. And as we develop this gentle, non judgmental curiosity of self, using meditation, mindfulness, breath techniques, using visualization exercises, whatever tool we need to use to get us into that state, as we start to practice that curiosity, we're less likely to get defensive. And if we're less likely to get defensive as we communicate with our peers, with our colleagues, with our boss, the communication becomes smoother and therefore they will become less reactive. So by practicing mindfulness, we give ourselves space between action and reaction, hearing something and responding, receiving an email and writing back. We give ourselves that pause in between that automatic judgment. And as we practice that pause, we get to diversify how we want to interpret the information that's coming in. We may give ourselves a moment or a chance to take a breath, check in. An email came in. I didn't like the words. I normally assume this. And then we can ask ourselves a really valuable question. Is there another way I can interpret this? And what I like to say is there a more compassionate lens that I can look through when seeing this? Or is there another conclusion I can come to? And you may still end up at the same conclusion, but it's an informed inclusion. So we step back, we have space, we connect in to that gentle, non judgmental awareness. So we get to pause that rational thinking brain so that when we come back to judgment, we have true good judgment because we've exercised that part of a brain that's curious and compassionate. And we move into judgment with sound of mind and whole of body, not defensiveness that perpetuates a state of judgment that may not serve us and may not actually be true. So it's really helpful with human relationships. Now, of course, when it comes to working, doing the work, working 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day, mindfulness is really helpful when it comes to burnout prevention. 2/3 of the workplace have experienced burnout and 1/3 on repeat. And what mindfulness can do, especially when we talk about that space between action and reaction, it can allow us to turn inward and notice what's going on in our physical body. Again, another email, another email, another email, and notice that stress response in our body. And that stress response is a signal that this might be too much, or I might need rest, or I might need to pause. Again, it's that action and reaction. Something comes in, there's space to feel it with that gentle, non-judgmental awareness, which means being present in our body, using compassion. And then how do I want to react? And instead of compulsively writing back, I've got to answer the email, I've got to answer the email, we can go, and you know what, this isn't going to serve me right now. Close the laptop, walk away. So what mindfulness offers us in twofold is more connected, I'm going to say loving, but I don't mean romantic love. We're in the workplace, of course, but more connected, caring relationships at work. And what it also offers us, I'm going to keep this, is I have to be mindful. Do I change everything or do I trust it? Did that frustrate me? Yes, I did. It also offers us, with the workload, a moment like what just happened of, I'm stressed. What do I do with this? As opposed to not feeling the stress, not feeling what's going on in our system because we're stuck thinking about the future, thinking about the past, doing all these jobs. We don't know what our body might need in that moment, whether it's rest, whether it's a couple of breaths, maybe we haven't drank water all day. And when we get to turn off, when we get to come into our physical body, when we do turn on again, when we do go back into that land of rational thinking brain and judgment, we will have more bandwidth. We will have more compassion. We are less likely to have decision fatigue or compassion fatigue, which means we're less likely to end up in the land of burnout. So these are just some of the ways that mindfulness can assist us. And of course, there's many, many more. And I'm always here to help serve you as we uncover what they are.